All right. Good morning, good evening, everyone. We already passed 2 more minutes. Let's get started with this. Uh, yeah, welcome everyone for this database administration workshop. Uh, Typically, Oracle Database 19C DBA training. As we announced already, today and tomorrow are going to be two demo classes, followed by Monday, we're going to start the regular classes. And as part of this demo classes, so let's see what we're going to cover. We'll start with the introduction about me and about the course curriculum and course duration, course fees, course timing, and followed by some of the uh, some of the basics concept of my database course, like database connectivity, and followed by database architecture. So I'll just call it as DB architecture, and followed by your database, basic understanding of your database administration. So I can just say administration. So these are like 3-4 topics uh, we can cover it today. I hope you guys can able to hear my voice. If yes, give me yes, okay, thumbs up, anything on the chart here. Just unmute yourself and say I can. I'm getting some ping that they can't hear my voice.
Yes.
All right. Yeah.
Yes,
Thanks.
we can hear.
Thanks for the confirmation. Right. Kalim, probably might be issue with your mic. You can just disconnect and connect back. Right. Thanks for that. Right. Throughout these two demo classes today and tomorrow, you all are allowed to unmute yourself and stop me and ask me any questions and queries related to your course curriculum, course duration, course timing, or the course fees, or the any particular registration process, anything, any questions, you can feel free to unmute and stop me and then ask me any questions. At the same time, if you are not able to unmute and you are stuck, you can use this chat window here. You can post your questions or queries in this chat. We'll be monitoring this chat window, and then I'll take up that question. Right. With that, for this day one demo sessions, I'm going to start with introduction about myself and course curriculum, course content, what is the topics involved, and what are the advanced topics we're going to cover after the course, and course duration, course timing, course fees, followed by your database connectivity, how it works, how in the real-time mode example database connections happens, and your database architecture and your database administration. So all this will be covered here. And in the demo session 2 tomorrow, we'll talk about some of the maintenance. So what are the your database maintenance, like what are the downtimes, how as a DBA we can manage our day-to-day activities. So that will be covered. I can just say DB maintenance and what are the downtime we're going to get it, how we're going to deal with, how we're going to minimize the downtime, and followed by your types of databases, and followed by your database startup and shutdown, sequences and the dependencies and internal physical and logical architecture. So uh, we'll try to do as much as possible today and tomorrow and see how what are topics we're able to cover and then how much we are able to make it for these two demo classes. Right. With that, I'll just start with the introduction. Myself, I'm having around 15 years of experience in overall this IT industry as a core Oracle DBA rack expert, data guard expert, golden gate expert. So this entire 15 years, I worked only on the Oracle product. I never worked other than Oracle product. Oracle is my primary skill. Uh, Even though I worked so many other product like your PostgreSQL, MySQL, and Informatica, and your data modeling, Erwin data modeling, so many other secondary skills. But somebody asked, what is your primary skills? What is your primary domain? Oracle is my primary domain. This entire 15 years, I worked with various organizations and with various sectors. I started with core banking, followed by health sector and insurance and finance, uh, and so many organization I worked. And I worked with the various levels of my positions. I started with the junior Oracle DBA and senior Oracle DBA, team lead and infrastructure lead and solution architect. So coming to this Oracle word, so in Oracle, I worked on various products. So Oracle is a giant, like it has a lot of products in that. So Oracle being is my primary domain, I worked most of the Oracle product, starting with the core Oracle database, core Oracle DBA, and rack admin and rack expert, Golden Gate expert, and data guard expert, and also Oracle engineering system. If somebody say Oracle engineering system, that all includes your Exadata, your Exalogic, your supercluster, your ODA, and JDL array and JFS. There's so many other engineering products. So these are my 5, 6 engineering product what I work. And along with that, application side, I worked again under Oracle product. So these are like your database and engineering system products. At the back end, we worked. And at the front end application side, I worked on Oracle EBS. E-Business Suites is one of the major enterprise application provided by Oracle. So I worked as a EBS admin, and also I worked as a OBI admin. OBI is your data warehouse application that provided by again Oracle, and I worked as a PeopleSoft admin. So these are my application level exposure again in Oracle Word. So along with this Oracle product, I also worked with the Informatica admin. I also worked with the Erwin data modeling and so many other things. And being Oracle is my primary skill. And many people will ask, or many of you might be having questions: is it worth learning cloud technology? Because cloud being booming in market, is it worth learning cloud? Yes, of course. Whichever technology is running in market. So if you are learning that skill and being up to date in the market, that will always give you better positions and always give you better opportunities and higher pay scale. So learning new technologies whichever good at market, always upgrading yourself is good. So with that, I also certified with Oracle Cloud OCI, and also worked a couple of years in Oracle Cloud, and also I worked in AWS and little bit on Azure. So these are the three cloud platform I also had experience. I get a chance to work on that areas. And along with that, again, many people will ask, as a DBA, can I learn DevOps? Again, you can learn anything, not necessarily DevOps or not necessarily cloud or not necessarily any other product. If you are willing and if you're interested, you can do anything. You can learn any product. But how much that is going to use in your next career path? And if I'm looking for my career path as a cloud administration, so I need to learn various cloud technologies, AWS, Azure, Google Cloud, Oracle Cloud, and then I have to look for in that direction. If I'm looking for myself as a infrastructure lead and solution architect, so for me, the direction is to I need to learn all the DevOps tools, especially your Kubernetes, especially your Terraform and your Jenkins. You have to think what is your career path, whether I'm going to be solution lead, solution architect, or infrastructure lead, or whether I'm going to be, cloud database administration, cloud admin, cloud infrastructure lead. So you have to think and you have to go in that direction. So having said that, being my skills on Oracle and cloud, and I also learned few of the DevOps skills. Like I learned Python, I learned Perl script, I learned Shell script, I learned Terraform, I learned Kubernetes. So why I learned this? My current project, one of the organization, those are the needed for my automation. I use those Python script, Perl script, and this Kubernetes Terraform to do some automation, like automation of your database upgrade, database migration, your database patching, and database day-to-day activities. To do all those things, I wanted to learn them, and then I learned them. So again, that is all subjected to your interest and how much you're going to use it in your next career path. So learning a new thing is always challenging, and once you learn it, you will easily forget them if you don't use it for your day-to-day activities, right? So that is my entire IT experience. It's this entire 15 years. Oracle is being my primary skill and primary product. I mostly worked on most of the Oracle product. And being Oracle as my primary domain, I also interested and I worked with the other database skills like MySQL and PostgreSQL, MS SQL, and those are like my secondary database skills. And other than Oracle product, I also worked on this Informatica admin and Erwin data modeling and so many other things. Right. So that's about overall my experience and areas of expertise and various sectors: banking sector, finance, health sector, and insurance sector. These are the four primary sectors I worked. And with this entire 15 years of experience, if I wanted to share the major milestone or major challenging project, what I handled is for the two clients, I handled end to end. One is for one of the insurance sector. I did the entire data center migration. So entire data center migration from New Jersey to Washington DC. That's the entire data center migration we did with a minimal downtime. So including EBS, OBI, PeopleSoft, and Exadata, entire migration, we did it. That's one of the major project. And the other major project, again, for the same insurance company, we did it for entire data center built from the scratch. So that is again Exadata. They brought a new Exadata and then they don't had any data center and we built it from the scratch. And that includes migration of their on-premises database to Oracle Cloud. That is Oracle on-premises, like, cloud at customer. That's the other major project what we did. So having said that, these are two major projects because that is the lengthiest, like, one is like 9-month project because that includes like hundreds, thousands of server migration. And one is like new data center build. Again, that is 8 to 9 month project. So those are the two major project what I worked from end to end from the scratch. And along with that, like, database upgradation, database migration, database patching, I have done thousands of database patchings, upgradation, and migrations as a day-to-day activities. Right. That's all about me. If you allow me, I can talk entire whole day because it's always pride moment for me to tell something about myself. Right. It's for everyone. If somebody asked, tell me about yourself and what are your achievement, so you should feel proud that it's an opportunity for you to explain and introduction about yourself and your achievement and all those things. Right. So with that, and also you might be all aware that I'm one of the active member in Oracle community. So like about 2 year back, again back to back, it's a third year now. I'm a Oracle ACE awarded from Oracle ACE program. So being that I'm one of the active member of Oracle ACE and Oracle community, where I'm giving my contribution to the Oracle community. Right. With that, quickly jump onto the course curriculum. Let's quickly open that course curriculum link here. So if you go to my blog, malik034blogspot.com, so you can get the course curriculum. So go through all the key notes and the schedule, all those things. I can directly start with the course curriculum and later we'll anyway come back with the course duration, timing, and fees. So the course curriculum looks like this. We'll start with the environmental setup. Again, there are so many things. We'll understand some of the basics of Linux and environmental variable and how we're going to set up, install your Linux. So much things we're going to cover here, but just environmental setup that includes your Linux installation, configuration, and setup everything. And followed by your networking, like, your IP addresses, your netmask, and your DNS, your gateways, and DHCP, and name resolution, and so many other things. One second, guys. All right, sorry for that. Okay, so that's the second topic we're going to cover about networking, because being a Oracle DBA, so understand basics of networking and Linux administration. Those are mandatory things. So that will be covered along with the course, and also some other basics at the beginning of the course. These two topics includes your networking and Linux setup and some of the basic admin tasks here, and followed by your chapter number 3 and 4 and 5. These are like various, we're going to discuss about various database installation, your ASM installation, your database installation, and your Oracle home creation, ASM home creation, grid home creation, cluster home creation. Like there are many people will get confused with this naming convention, right? ASM home, clusterware home, grid home, GI home, grid software, ASM software, and database software, database home, Oracle home, and so many things. Like, these are like one and same. If you look it, observe it, and closely, what all many people will say with the different words, but they all related to same. Your ASM software, your ASM home, your clusterware home, your GI home, whatever they say, it's all one and same. If somebody will say database home, database software, Oracle home, it's all one and same. So we'll all look closely and then we'll understand them. So we'll start with the installation of them, installation of your GUI mode, silent mode, and how we can deal with that. If you don't have GUI mode, what are the silent options you can go with that? Right. So that's about the installation. We'll start with the ASM installation, Oracle home installation, and database creation with the different labs. We're going to create lab one, lab two with a different setup. And start with the, again, we'll compare with the 11G, 12C, 19C. This course is pretty much purely on 19C or database version, but we'll see that various comparison, like how it was in 11G, how it was in 12C, and how it is now in 19C. So we'll do comparison for each and every topic. And again, coming to architecture, that chapter number 6 will again explain purely about the comparison in with respect to 11G, 12C, 19C, what are the architecture changes happened. That is very important as a being Oracle DBA. So understanding of architecture core fundamental is mandatory and must. If you know and if you understand core fundamental architecture, and you can learn this course and learn, you become a database expert without any other thought, or like easily you can handle any other critical situation as a database administration. So if you learn this database architecture at any given point of time, somebody asked you explain about database architecture, you should be able to explain without any issues, or with a fluent, you can able to explain it. Even in middle of the night, somebody wake you up and then ask you what is database architecture, explain me database architecture, you should be able to explain it fluently without any issue or without any hurdle, right? So that's how your core fundamental strength should be. So that is very important. We're going to cover for at least 3 to 4 days here, and followed by your database administration. So this chapter number 7, chapter number 8, it's purely on database administration. Like we'll cover end-to-end managing your database instance, startup, shutdown, memory architecture, and your background architecture, your table spaces, data files, your extend, segment, blocks, and your data files, how we're going to add data files, remove data files, manage your table spaces, manage your storage, manage your users, privileges. So all end-to-end database administration activities, everything will be like discussed around 2 weeks. We're going to cover entire this admin activities, and followed by chapter number 9 is purely on your ASM architecture. So you don't need to have prior knowledge of anything. We're going to start with the scratch. What is ASM? What is ASM storage? What is ASM architecture? How ASM is different than Oracle instance, and why we need ASM, and ASM administration, ASM instance administration, SRCTL, CRSCTL, and how we're going to manage your disk groups with redundancies, high redundancy, normal redundancy, external redundancy, and how we're going to add a disk into disk group, how we're going to drop a disk from the disk group, how we're going to create a disk group, all will be covered here. Chapter number 10 is about your multi-tenant architecture, very important. As a Oracle DBA, our future focus will be multi-tenant architecture, CDBs and PDBs. So see, because starting with the 21C onwards, it's all about multi-tenant architecture. So there is no normal database concept. 20C onwards, whatever as the DBA we administrate, we gonna deal with, everything will be multi-tenant architecture. So that's mandatory for all the DBA to learn this multi-tenant architecture. We'll do complete end-to-end understanding of CDBs and PDBs and multi-tenant architecture, and your CDB and PDB cloning and backups, restore recoveries. All those things will be covered here. Chapter number 11 is all about your whatever, like networking, your TNS, listener, and so many things. We're going to talk about SQLnet and TNS listeners, and how we're going to connect remotely, passwordless authentication, remote authentication, OS authentication, and your password file, so many other things, right? Like I just mentioned few of them here, but there's so many things. I cannot mention all of those, whatever we're going to discuss and we're going to talk, but just one or two I can mention here. But along with this, there's so much things will be covered. So I mentioned only this understanding PDBs, CDBs, But along with that, there are so many things, how we're going to connect to PDB, how we're going to connect to CDB, how we're going to manage your TNS and listener for CDBs and PDBs and wallet. So many things will covers here, but I cannot mention everything. I just mentioned few of them here. The user management like roles, privileges, permissions, grants, quotas, and storage, all will be covered here. Again, there are so many other things like request comes from, can I clone my user one as a user two? Can I get same privilege of user one to user two? Can I get all the privileges of my user one? So all those activities will be explained when we talk about these particular topics here. Right. So I just mentioned only few of them here. That's not limited to only this topic. Along with that, there are so many things covered as part of the course. And your backups and recovery, these three topics here, chapter number 13, 14, 15, will talk about purely on the backups and recovery strategy. Very important as a DBA. Backups and recoveries are like backbones in order to recover your database in case of any unwanted, like, in case of any disaster happens. So that is very important. So we're gonna talk about backups and recovery. We'll talk about understanding traditional backup like cold backup, manual backup, hot backup, and followed by your RMAN backup. Why RMAN backup is so important? What are the advantages? And all those things will be covered over here. And RMAN restore, recover, RMAN cloning, and various recovery scenarios. Recovery of your control file, recovery of your data file, recovery of system file, recovery of sysdig data files, and recovery of your SP file. So many recovery scenarios along with your RMAN duplicate, RMAN clone, RMAN whatever, like so many RMAN things we're going to cover in these three chapters here. Chapter number 16 is about applying patches. Applying patches. I mean, so many things you're going to call it the patching, like PSU, CPU, one-off patch, merge patch, interim patch, hot online patch, hot patch, uh, merge patch, interim patch. So many things. The names are many things, but it's all patching for as a DBA. So we're going to patch a GI home, we're going to patch Oracle home, we're going to patch databases, how you can minimize the downtime, and what is OPatch and what is OPatch at all, what are the various tools, and all those things, how we're going to minimize the downtime for the patching, all will be discussed over here with a live demonstration. Database upgrade, again, from 11G to 19C, 12C to 19C, 18C to 19C, how we're going to do your database upgrade. So various method, you have a manual method, you have a Perl script, you have a shell script, you have a DBUA, you have a silent method, and you have your 19C new feature auto upgrade. So all will be covered with a live demonstration, how you're going to do this, all the database upgrades, what are the pre-checks, what are the post-checks, and how you can intelligently minimize the downtime during the upgrade, how quickly you complete your database upgrade, all those best practice will be covered. So chapter number 18, data guard architecture. Just if you see, I mentioned only 4 points here. So when it comes to data guard, we'll start with the scratch. We'll build a brand new standby database for my production database, and we'll monitor the sync, and we'll simulate if there's a sync gap between primary and standby, how we're going to do that roll forward with incremental backup with a 12C new feature, service-based backup. And once your FRA is full, how we're going to deal with that. And there are so many scenarios, like different types of your standby databases and different modes of your standby database, like different types, your logical standby, physical standby, snapshot standby, and your different modes, maximum availability, maximum protection, and maximum performance, and how we're going to convert from one mode to other mode, how we're going to convert from one state to other state. So all those things will be covered here. And although also we're going to cover your DR drill activity, like switch over and failover, converting your primary as a standby as a primary. So all will be covered. The only fact here is that I have not mentioned anything, all those list here, but it will be part of our course. And again, with that, chapter number 19, we're going to cover about shell scripting as a Oracle DBA. So the moment I log into my shift, because we work 24/7 as a DBA, and the moment we log into our shift, whichever shift you work, morning, afternoon, and night shift, so we have to do certain checks on day-to-day basis, whether my database is up and running or not, whether my instance is up and running or not, whether my listener is up and running or not, whether we have enough space on my mount point, we have enough space on my disk groups. And so is there any blocking session? Is there any idle session? So there are so many checks we do it. We ideally spend around minimum of 1 to 2 hours every day. Once we log in, we do a lot of checks. So how I can automate them? By writing small shell script, how I can automate my day-to-day activities. So we'll start with understanding basic shell scripting and cron tab, how you can schedule them as a cron tab. And we'll write some of the basic shell scripting to monitor your database, and we'll schedule them as a cron job. That is about shell script we'll cover here in chapter number 19. And export and import, again, we'll talk about so many things in the export and import. Export of your table spaces, tables, and export of your data files, and so many other things. And how you can tune your export and import, how you can pause, how you can resume your export and import, and all those things will be covered here. And chapter number 21, it's all about new feature. We'll cover what are the new feature in 12C and what are the important new feature as a DBA is useful. What are the new features of 19C as a DBA for day-to-day activities are useful. And chapter number 22 is about performance tuning, your AWR report, ADDM report, AHH report, how you can generate, how you can read them, how you can analyze them, how you can give your recommendations. And along with the chapter number 12 and your chapter number 13 is like, with the help of real-time example, like, my query is running slow, my insert is hanging, my database is hanging. So with the real-time word example, will generate the AWR report and we'll see how to analyze them. And your chapter number 14, once you understand about chapter number 22 and 23, chapter number 25 is for after analyzing this real-time word example, what are your recommendations? Index rebuild, gather stats on the table and the schema level, and your table move, table shrink, and your table fragmentation, and your along with that, your SQL profiling and SQL tuning, so many other things, but I not mentioned again here. So that will be your performance tuning recommendations based upon your analysis here. After analyzing your AWR, ADDM, ASH report, your recommendation will be like rebuilding an index, gather stats on the table, on the schema level, table move, table shrink, and SQL profiling, SQL tuning, and so many other things. Those are your recommendations. And that's all about the course curriculum. And at the end of the course, at the extra topic, like we'll be covering as a cover letter and resume writing. So cover letter and resume writing are very, very important, right? Once you learn this course, your next intention or motto is to get a new and better opportunity. So we're going to take a real example of my own resume, and we'll be explaining about what are the tips and tricks, how you can write your resume and cover letter, how important is your cover letter will be covered here. Along with that, so interview questions and answers will overall talk about entire database course, like what are the expected questions and answers. So throughout this entire course will be discussed with the interview questions and answers, but at the end of the course also we'll glance at how like common interview questions and answers should look like. Right. And at the end, it is subjected to everyone interest. If you are interested, you can register for the mock interview. So I'll be connecting with one-to-one and we'll be discussing about, taking your one-to-one interview sessions. And I'm gonna giving you some tips or tricks if you're not handled the situation, how you could have made it better. So it is again subjected to individual interest. You have to register and I'll connect with you one-to-one for the mock technical discussion here. Right. So that's about the course curriculum. So any questions so far on this particular course curriculum, you are allowed to feel free to unmute and you can ask any questions about the course curriculum or anything you want to discuss. Right. Or else you can post it in the chat here. That's also fine. Right. With this, there will be a lot of questions like throughout the course. Many people will be asking, can you cover about wallet? Can you cover about licensing? Can you cover about um, some advanced topic like OEM, some golden gate? So those are like advanced topic, not part of this particular course, but it is subjected to end of the course. Everyone interest will take some of the extra topics and will schedule it as the extra topic. Also, apart from this particular course content, if you want to learn, we'll take it as an extra topic. Right. With that, I can quickly jump onto course curriculum. And if you go to course curriculum here on malik034blogspot.com, you can click on this course registration. So that course registration is going to go into this link. So you can fill up your name, email ID, phone number, and comment. Submit it. I'm going to reach out to you for further process. And if you know more about next upcoming batch and all, you can go ahead and then click our more information here. So that's going to give you that what is the next batch, when the next batch is going to start, all those details. Right. Let's put them here. Right. So that's what we covered: course curriculum and the upcoming batch schedule. You can go with this link, whatever I showed here, and the course registration. Right. So now interesting fact, like let's go to the next, that is course duration and the course timing and the course fees, right? So if I can bring it over here, as you all seen, today and tomorrow, 13th April and 14th April, Thursday and Friday, are going to be demo sessions, what we're covering here now. 13th and 14th, Thursday and Friday, 2 are demo classes, 9 AM IST to 11 AM IST. That pretty much 11:30 PM EST to 1:30 AM EST. Those are like your 2 demo classes. And this is a Zoom link what we're using for this demo classes. And our actual course is going to start on 17th April. Remember, that's on Monday. So followed by these 2 demo classes, weekend, Saturday, Sunday, 15th and 16th. And we're going to start it on 17th is our actual course. That's on Monday. The timing remains same, 9 AM IST. Pretty much is 9 AM or 9:30 AM. We'll discuss in our WhatsApp group. So probably 9:30 AM, 9:30 AM EST to 11:30 AM IST. So again, as of now, you can make it as a 9 AM IST to 11 AM IST. That's the timing for the regular classes, starting with the Monday, 17th April. And remember, this is a weekdays batch, weekdays classes, Monday to Friday. This course is from Monday to Friday. Let's see it over here. So this will be on Monday to Friday, every week, 5 days, Monday to Friday. Timing again remains in 9 AM IST to 11 AM IST. In Eastern time, it will be 11:30 PM EST to 1:30 AM EST. Every day, 2 hours, Monday to Friday. And the duration is approximately around 40 to 45 days. We're going to able to complete. And of course, this is a paid training. The course fees is 10,000 Indian rupees and pretty much 125 US dollar. And the mode of these classes is like Zoom classes or the WebEx or your Teams. I'm going to share it in our WhatsApp group about the regular class link. And again, this is of 19C version, right? So with that, if I think already many people are registered and they are all joined to my WhatsApp group. So each and every batch will be having a dedicated WhatsApp group, and registered student will be part of that WhatsApp group. We're going to use that WhatsApp group for each and every communication. Any questions, queries, we're going to post it in the group and anyone can answer that. If not, like I'll be there to answer. And WhatsApp group is a lifetime accessible group. So we'll discuss in that particular group any questions, queries, and even after the course, you will be able to post your questions, queries in the same WhatsApp group. We're going to answer those particular questions or queries, right? So with that, if you are interested to register and take it forward this particular course, you can feel free to reach out to me on my WhatsApp number +91 988 616 848, or you can drop me an email mallikarjun.ramadurg@gmail.com. So I'm happy to answer you back. I'll connect with you back for further payment process and how you can do the next registration process and all those things. So I posted my details in the chat here. You can take a note of that, or you can reach out to me on my WhatsApp number or drop me an email. I can connect with you one-to-one for further process on payment and adding you to WhatsApp group. Right. Right, that's about the course duration and the course curriculum and the course timing and the course fees. Any questions so far, guys? About
Arjun sir, this is Sherja. Is it possible to make the course from 8:30 to 10:30?
no, 9 o'clock is a fixed timing. Again, there's already got a many requests. Make it to 9:30. So right now it is scheduled for 9 AM to 11 AM, and
Okay.
already the people are requested for 9:30. I'm pushing it to 9:30 or at least 9:15, but it cannot be, go backwards. Maybe like 9:15 or 9:30.
Okay. Then 9 is okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Any questions, guys, like on the course curriculum or the course duration or anything? A couple of questions on the chart here. If we miss the present batch, like right. So as you can see here, right, I already clearly called out a special note. It's a one-time registration. Whatever the fees you're doing, it's a one-time registration, and where you can attend multiple times with a valid reason. For example, you registered this time, and for some reason you will not be able to attend this course. Maybe you got some on-site opportunities and you have to travel, or you got some medical emergency and you have to drop this particular course for now, and you got some personal issues and you are changing a job, and your shift is got changed. You are not able to continue. You attended for a week and unable to attend further classes, and you can intimate me well in advance so that I can take your name to the next batch whenever I'm starting a next batch, and I'll add you to that next batch. But it is not like at the last minute, I did not attended your last course and I want to join this course. I don't know whether you attended or not, right? So I'm not taking any attendance. So when you're dropping it this current batch, you made a payment. It is your job to intimate me. So I'm not able to continue for next further so and so dates. I would like to be part of your next batch. So you give me valid reason so that I can take your name and then add you to the next batch in well in advance. Because if there's more student in the next batch, so I'll not be able to take further registration, right? So should be valid reason and should be intimated well in advance, right? And as I said, we have a dedicated WhatsApp group for each batch, and any questions, queries, everything will be discussed in our WhatsApp group. So that WhatsApp group will be there for lifetime support. You can ask or post any questions, any queries in that particular WhatsApp group, and we'll be happy to help you on that. Right. That's
Uh,
one thing. Yeah, please go ahead.
Hi. Yeah, can we get the recording if I missed the class or any reason for?
Right, right.
So can I get the recording?
I'm coming to that point. Right.
Okay.
Uh, that is about WhatsApp group, right? WhatsApp group is a lifetime accessible WhatsApp group. We're going to support you end to end, like lifetime support. That will be there even after this particular course. You can use that WhatsApp group for active participation, active questions, query discussion. And as part of this course, we'll be getting access on the various drives. Uh, One is your course material. So this course materials includes a lot of things. Your course materials and your course recordings, and everyday sessions will be recorded and uploaded to Google Drive. I think already who are registered, they got access on the course materials, course information, and the ready lab and ready softwares. And you just need to download and you just need to uh, use them. And even everyday sessions will be recorded and uploaded into Google Drive, where you can uh, easily watch the previous batch recordings and watch the today's recordings. Everything will be available. If I can quickly go into this particular link here, let's go here. I can get my link here. Right. So this is about a course material. You can see a lot of things over here. A lot of folders and a lot of PPTs, lot of workbook, lot of ready labs. If I can go to this ready labs, you have so many ready labs. You just need to download and then install them. So everything will be like uploaded and recorded over here. And if I can go here for our the previous batch recordings here, if I can go here, everyday sessions will be recorded and uploaded along with the notepad. For example, GI home and DB home patching, this is the recordings what we uploaded. Along with that, whatever the command I'm writing it, I'm typing it in my lab, everything will be like uploaded here. So if I can go here, your patching, and if I open that document, so that document contains all the commands, whatever I'm executing on my lab. So when you are referring these recordings, you can refer along with the videos and along with this text fed, so that will be helpful and you can practice it while referring these videos. Right. So you can get access on the course materials and the recordings, and also your daily sessions recording and the previous batch recordings, and ready software, ready labs, and ready VMs. All those will be available. All right.
Sorry to interrupt. This is Aishwarya. So these recordings will be uploaded on the same day, right? Or
Right.
it will be...
Right. As I said, the moment you get access on the Google Drive, you will get access on the previous batch recordings. If you want to do a fast track, like if you want to learn in a 1 week, 2 week entire course, you want to complete your by your own, you will get access on the previous batch recordings. You can go ahead and then watch all those recordings. Those are again live recordings, like active interaction with the previous batch. And at the same times, every day, whatever this ongoing batch, every day sessions will be recorded and uploaded to the Google Drive with a different folder, and you'll be getting access on that particular drive as well. And that will be uploaded on the same day immediately after the session, so you can refer them as well. So that is left to you. Right.
Okay.
Sir, the registration link that you sent, right, is posted in the chat box. It's for
Mhm.
RAC, sir, RAC.
Right. I'm gonna give you database course one. Yeah. I'll ping you here a new link for that one. Take it. All right. Now let's move on. If no questions on
Could you
the
please brief us regarding the Oracle certification we can do after this course completion?
at the end of the course, we'll be covering about that Oracle certification, what all certification you can do, OCA, OCP in 12C, and in 19C, it will be admin 1, admin 2 certification. Will be brief discussion about how you can do that course registration for the certificate and how you can take that, what are the tips. All those will be covered at the end of the course certifications. Right. All right, let's go here. What we covered, introduction about myself and course curriculum. What are the course topic? Hope no questions on the course curriculum, because like this particular course curriculum is made based upon my overall 15 years of experience as a DBA, what is needed for day-to-day activities. And again, if you go and check your course curriculum, you won't get this kind of a course curriculum where it involves like advanced and basics combining together as a DBA, what is needed for day-to-day activities. So all will be like combined together and then form this particular course. Because especially when you talk about your DR setup and your patching and your upgrades, and those like will be part of your advanced Oracle course. But again, this will be part of your entire bundled course, advanced and the basic level combined together, and will made this particular course. And there are so many things, like many students will be registered from the basics who are new to this DBA and who are already experienced with the 5 years, 10 years. Everyone will be part of this course and will be discussing active questions and answers, and will be like clarifying all of them. And there'll be couple of questions from the previous batch, like since I'm very new to this course and there are so many experienced people and they're asking so many other questions and all, don't worry on that. So I'll be conducting 1 or 2 extra sessions on every Saturday or Sunday, only for the newcomers, like who are new to this database world and entering into this IT world. I'll be taking some extra classes either Saturday or Sunday on weekly basis, and I'll going over some of the basic topics, like to make you understand, to make you up to date along with the that experience level, so that you have a chance to interact with the seniors and you'll understand what kind of a questions your seniors are asking in this particular batch. And also I'll be driving you all who are new to this course by taking some extra sessions either Saturday or Sunday on weekly basis, right there, so that you don't miss this particular course. And also you'll get a chance to listen to those live questions, right? Like how the after like 3 years, 5 years, 10 years of experience, what kind of a questions, what kind of a expectation, all those things will be like covered here. And on top of that, there are pure basic recordings available in my Google Drive, and I'll be granting access to those newcomers who are new to this course or new to this Oracle world or new to this DBA domain. I'll be granting access on those basic recordings so that you can easily learn it by your own pace. Those are like plain recordings recorded by me without any interactions. Those are like basics, bare minimal recordings. That is not useful for experienced people. Again, if you want it, again, I'll grant access for the experienced people as well. But for the newcomers or the freshers, for the new to this Oracle world. So those are very good recordings. You can just go to them those are like available in our Google Drive. You will get access once you register for this course. Right. With that, let's quickly, if no questions on the course curriculum or duration or the fees timing, let's quickly connect on some of the basics of architecture topics. I'm going to cover it for today, and then we'll close it for today, and then we'll continue with the tomorrow. Right. One more time, I'm going to share my screen. So this is your actual timing. 13th and 14th April, today and tomorrow are demo classes, and actual course is starting on 17th April. So let's bring calendar here. 13th and 14th are demo classes, and followed by no classes on weekend, Saturday, Sunday. 17th is the one actual class is going to start. And this is the weekdays batch, Monday to Friday. We're going to start it on 17th, again, same timing. And again, it will be 45 days duration. Course fees is 10,000, pretty much $125. And these are live online classes, and it's a Oracle intensive version. And who are interested for registration or part of this particular course, go ahead and then drop me an email with mallikarjun.ramadurg@gmail.com, or ping me or call me on my WhatsApp or cell number +91 9880 616 848. Right. With that, to understanding here, we have a dedicated WhatsApp group for each batch. All discussion, queries, questions will be happening on that particular group. Already I formed a group for this particular WhatsApp group, and I got a couple of registration last week, last week, and I already granted access on all the Google Drive, including the previous batch recordings. I hope like many students already watching those recordings, they are all ready for Monday onwards to participate these active classes. Right, so that's how it works. So those live recordings, whatever the Google Drive access, whatever the WhatsApp group, all will be available for the lifetime access. You can access those recordings, videos, and materials and WhatsApp group for lifetime, no restriction on that. And in fact, you can download it locally on your laptop, no restriction on that. Right. Right, guys, that's cool. Let's start with the one or two topic like connectivity. Let's understand database connectivity, how it's gonna work, and how my application connections works, followed by my database architecture. Let's take my paint here. Okay, before that, let's go here. So if somebody asked, what are the types of databases? In a real-time world, once you start working on the various customer, what are the types of databases you deal with? Very first is your standalone and Oracle restart and Oracle rack, and other one is I can just say Oracle. Oracle is the keyword. Oracle standalone database. Oracle restart database. Oracle rack database. Oracle rack one node database. So these are the four types of database you're going to get it in any time, real time world. If you work on, these are the only four types of database. And as you can see, Oracle rack database, Oracle rack one node, these are out of scope, means these are part of our rack scores. So who are interested rack training, so in the rack, we're gonna discuss about this. As part of this database course, we'll be talking about Oracle standalone and Oracle restart. But again, at this moment, you will be having confusion. What is this Oracle standalone? What is this Oracle restart? What is this rack and what is rack one node? Of course, that's the expected one. So you'll not be able to get it. What are these? But in industry, these are the four types of database you will deal with. So we'll talk about that. For this particular course, we'll be covering only standalone and Oracle restart. Those are called single instance or single standalone servers, standalone databases. Will be covered for this particular course. So in simple words, standalone database means without ASM, and Oracle restart means with ASM. So that's a simple understanding. Will be covered here in this particular course, and this will be explained in brief but not covered in detail. That will be your rack course, right? Let's go here. So I'll just say, I'll just take this is my network. Say my organization is wipro.com, anything wipro.com, domain, or infosys.com or oracle.com. So you're working for any organization, Wipro, sorry, there's a typo, Wipro or Infosys or Oracle, TCS or whatever organization. These are your domain. So these are your entire domain infrastructure here. And inside that, you will be having multiple servers. It may be your database servers, you may be having cloud, or you may be having your so many things, right? So many servers you will be having your infrastructure. This data center might be somewhere. It may be in your London, or it may be your uh, New York, or it may be your Washington DC, or wherever it is. Your data center sitting somewhere and servers are sitting somewhere, and we are taking those servers remotely. So assuming that this particular my data center, I'm working for Wipro, wipro.com is my domain, and my data center is in London. And in that London data center, I have so many thousands of servers, and related to your database, Oracle, related to your PostgreSQL, related to your application, related to your infrastructure, so many projects, so many like projects, so many products. So everyone has their own servers. As a DBA, I have couple of servers. So one of them is our Oracle Lab 1. Say this is Oracle Lab 1, one of the servers which is available in my London data center. So this IP address, say 192.168.1.1.1. So this is my server name and this is my IP address. So in order to access this server, either I need to go to my London data center and go to that physical server, turn it on, and you can work it as long as you're working on your laptop with a keyboard and mouse. Go to your London data center and turn it on the server and work it. That's one thing. So that's not possible in real time mode, right? Now cannot go to London data center and work it. So for that, we have a concept of connect remotely. Take this server remotely. That's the second option. The first option is connect from DC, connect from your data center. Go to your data center where it is in London and go to that server where it is sitting and turn it on, and you can work with the keyboard and mouse to the actually directly to that server. In real time mode, that's not possible because everyone cannot go to the data center and work it, right? The second option, take remote session of Oracle Lab 1 and work. Take a remote session and work. So if you see here, I already connected to Oracle Lab 1. So take remote session, the Linux server. So for Linux server, we use Putty or Mobile Extra. So many tools for Linux server. This is Linux server in London data center. So I can use Putty session or Mobile Extra. This is Mobile Extra, whatever you are seeing here. If I go with the help about, this is a Mobile Extra. So you can use either Mobile Extra or Putty tools to connect your Linux server remotely. If it's a Windows, we call it as a RDP. So it will be part of your Windows. So remote desktop connection, RDP. So you're going to use RDP to connect remotely on your Windows servers, Windows servers in your data center. So real time world, we're going to work in this concept here. We're going to remotely take those servers and we'll work on that one. Right. Let's see here now. In order to DBAs to work, go to data center, work on the same direct server itself. That's one thing that's not possible in the real time mode. Other option is take this server remotely, like how I took here, root user and Oracle server. I took a remotely, and then I can see database is running here. So in this particular server, I have a database DB2. Name of the Oracle database is DB2. I give a name as a DB2. The database is running here. Right. So I have 10 DBAs in my organization. So Malik, one user, John, one user, and Jeff. So assuming that these are the 3 DBAs. maybe 10 dBs. So in order to this DBA to access this server, your Linux admin will create the users here inside this database server. So root user only your Linux admin will be having. Linux admin, he created a Malik user. If I do ID Malik, so I can see Malik user is here. So I can connect this server, like I can take a new session as a Malik user using that host name or the IP address. So I can just go with a let's go with the IP address. Let's go here and then give the IP address. So I'm able to connect. I'll connect with the Malik user and hopefully Malik password works, or let's see. No, let's check it out here. Right, I'm able to connect. Malik user is able to connect to the server. If I do bash, Malik user is able to connect here and I connected to the server. And if the Linux admin is going to create one more user, like one more DBA, that is John. Let's create user add John. So Linux admin will add the user add John. John user got created. So Linux admin will change the password for that John user. Let's set the password for that. So John user created on this Linux server. Now John also will connect to that server. Again, he will take a session from his laptop or his desktop. He will access that using IP address or the host name. So I'll go with John and whatever the password set for him. Right. So John is connected now. So that is how everyone, whatever the database servers which are available in your data center, as a DBA, we all get our individual login access, and we use our own username and password to access those servers remotely. That is the ideal way in any real-time world. Take a remote session of your server, whatever the database server where your databases are created and database are installed. We're going to take a remote connections and we'll work on that. If it's a Linux server, we'll take a Putty or Mobile Xterm. Typically, there's so many other tools as well. And which is a Windows, we're going to use RDP. Right. As a DBA, once we log in with our own individual ID, either Malik or either John, we'll define, okay, I am going to create a DB database in that one, name of Oracle database. Oracle database, that is DB2 or DevDB or ProdDB or whatever the name of the database, you can define it, right? This database has to be installed with the Oracle user. There is the OS user. You will ask your Linux admin to create an Oracle user, and we will log into that Oracle user and will create the database with that owner. Let's see here. I am Malik user. Now I switch to Oracle user. SU is for switch user, Oracle. Now I logged into Oracle user. So Oracle is a owner for that particular database, right? Let's see here, ps-ef grep smon. So DB2 is the database running on the server owned by this Oracle user. Again, Oracle is your OS user. So now I logged into this Oracle user, and once I log in, like create, like it's a create Oracle user, that is your OS user. How Malik, John, Jeff, DBA users, OS user created by your Linux admin. Linux admin will create this Oracle user because that needs a root privileges. Root is a master privileges in that Linux server. Oracle Linux admin will create this Oracle user. As a Oracle user, now I logged in with Oracle user. I can create any database, DevDB or DB2 or OraProd or OraDev, whatever database I want, I can create it based upon my application need. Right. One thing what we understand, all DBAs, all DBAs have our own OS users. All DBAs have our own OS users. For example, as I said here, John, Jeff, Malik, all these OS users, DBAs, they all users will be got created here. Hardly around 10, 20, 30 DBAs in any organization. So all user ID will be created. And once we log into that server with our own IDs, now we are going to switch to Oracle user, because we defined from the Oracle user, again, Oracle user is OS user. Oracle user is again OS user. As a Oracle user, we create all the databases. Oracle user, again, it's a OS user. We create all the DBs.
Is it like a super user, Malik?
Not super user. It's a Oracle user or all the DBAs or OS user, like normal user. And Oracle user, why we created? If I create Malik user, and if I create a database, if I log in here, let's see, John, right? John is logged in here. If the John creates a database, it's owned by John. Grab Esmond. Right now, this DB2 is owned by Oracle. Why we go with Oracle user? It's a common user. We can call it as a common user. And for this Oracle username and password, we'll share it to all the 10 DBAs so that anybody can, like John logged in here, I'll switch to Oracle user with that Oracle user password. So that is a kind of a common user. We define it. If the John creates the database and it's owned by John only, so John has to share his username and password with Malik. So that's again security breach, right? So we don't go with that one. So we'll create this common username Oracle, and we'll create a database with that common user, and this common user Oracle and password will share with all the DBAs so that any DBA login, right now I logged in with Malik user here, I can switch to Oracle user here, SU Oracle. And if John log into his session, and he can switch to Oracle user, because Oracle is a common user, all the DBAs can access it, right? That's how it works. Once you install your databases with Oracle user, and all the DBAs will be having access and they can connect to the database. Right now, this is John. John logged in here and John switched to Oracle user. And now I can set the John is set the environmental variable as a DB2. Again, don't get confused with this. What is this environmental variable? We'll talk about in regular classes. So you can connect to database. Again, this is called your OS authentication. No need of password.
Hello, Malik.
Yeah, come again.
Suppose we install with our regular user. Can we change the ownership of
Yes,
ownership to the
you can change it to later to Oracle or whatever you want, but that needs a downtime and there's so many other steps. You can do that. Right. Now John is connected. John is switched to Oracle user and he can able to connect to database without any username and password. Let's go to Malik user here. Connected to Malik user here, and Malik has switched to Oracle user. Again, I'm going to run the same .inv db2 and SQL plus /s this DBA. Able to connect without any username and password. Any DBAs can able to connect because they have that server access. All the DBAs, whatever DBAs you are seeing here, all these DBAs have a server access, right? All these DBAs, whatever you're seeing, they have access on the server. Once they connect it to server, they can easily connect to the database, whatever running here. Right, that's one thing. Let's understand application users. Apps users. Developers. Testing users. What they will do? Application users or the developers or the testing user. Application users like your end users. You are running a application called ICICI Bank or the HDFC Bank or IDBI Bank or whatever the bank. So how many end users? How many users having account, ICICI Bank account, HDFC Bank account? Millions, thousands of users, right? How those will be connected to my database? For that, we have something called app server here. App server. So assume that we have application users, like 1 million application users. developers, assume that we have around 100 or 10K or like, just say 10,000 or the 1,000 or simply 10K. And my testing user is just 1K. These many users. 1K testing users, they have to do end-to-end testing, and developers who develop application, they are like 10K users, and at the end users are 1 million. Is your Linux admin is going to create these many users in the database to access the database? No, right? Like it is like, it does not make any sense. Why should why should your Linux admin create apps user, developers or testing users inside my Linux server? Right? For that, how they are going to connect to my database? For application user, developer, testing user, for them, they just need a database access. They all need only database access. They don't need a access on the server, right? That makes sense, because only DBAs who are going to manage the database, they need a database access. For this application development testing team, they just need access on the database at the DB level. They don't need access on the server, right? They just need to connect to this SQL command line. That is your database. Like, if I do select name from $, database, right? So this is a DB2 database. They just need this SQL command prompt connections. They don't need OS level. They don't need to log into OS because they're not managing any admin activities. They are accessing the database and the tables inside that. For that, what we do, we have something called apps user. What is that apps user? This application user, developers and testing user, what we do inside database, we'll create apps user and apps password. That is, I'm talking about inside my database as a DBA. Now I logged into DBA inside database. I'm going to create create user apps identified by apps, right? And grant, again, we'll talk about this. What is this create command? What is this grant command as part of our admin activities? Grant create session to apps, right? Now I created a apps username and password. Now my job is to just say this username and password, apps username and apps password. If I share this username and password to all the application user, developer, testing user, they can connect using this apps user and apps password directly to my database. They're nothing to do with the OS or nothing to do with the servers, right? How they will do it? Now let's remove this one. This is not needed for now. So now as a DBA, I logged into my database. I created one common apps user and password for inside my database. I said that apps username and password to all the application user, developer, testing users. Whatever the method they want to connect, they can connect it. Now the point is how they will connect it to my database. To connect to my database, what they need, all the application user, developers or testing users, in order to connect to my database, they need username and password inside DB. So we created apps username and apps password. That's fine. That's one important things. Apps username and apps password. Okay. In order to connect to that, this apps user, in order to connect to DB2, DB2 is running here. And there's one more database. Let's say here in this server, this is your lab2 server. Here dev database is running. Here it's your lab3. Here your prod database is running. Your developers or the apps users or the testing users should know which database they're connecting. They're connecting to DB2 or dev database or prod database. They should know that name of the database. And also they should know on which server it is running, whether it's running on lab1 or lab2 or lab3 or which server it is running. That's the other thing they should know it. So that is like this. In application users or the developers or the testing, like apps or dev users or the testing users, to connect to DB, they should know username and password inside the database. That's one thing. And they should know DB name. and they should know server where DB is running and port on which DB is running and protocol on which DB is running or listening. You can say running or listening. So these are the things your developer should have the access in order to connect. They should have a username and password inside the database, apps username and apps password. They have to connect, consult with the DBAs and get this username and password. And they should know the DB name. DB2 is the DB name, or DevDB, or TestDB, or UATDB, or ProdDB, whatever the name of the database they should know. DB name, or we can call it as a service name. DB name or service name, we can call it as one and same. We'll see in details what is the service name and DB name once we start our admin classes. And where the DB is running. Your DB is running under Oracle Lab 1. They should know that one. Or the IP address of that. The IP address is here for that server. So they should know the server name or the host name or the IP address. And the port, on which port it is running, 1521. Again, your DBA will provide this port and which protocol it is running. Right? So these, how many things? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If your, sorry, 5 things. Username and password, service name or the DB name, or the server where your database is running, or the port on which your database is listening, and the protocol on which protocol your database is listening. If they know all of these, they put all these entries into called TNS names. You can call TNS names.vara. They put all these details, except this username and password. They'll put all these details, and they're able to connect to my database. Right. So for the client to connect to my database, they need that TNS files. They need TNS names dot vara. They need this TNS name dot vara on the client side. These are my clients. These are my client. They need those TNS name dot vara file. TNS name dot vara file is nothing but whatever the requirement here, whatever we talked, DB name, service name, your server name or the IP address or the port or the protocol, everything we can keep it in a format, and then client can connect to my database. Right? That's your TNS names, we typically call it as. So they need a TNS names. Once they pass all the TNS names, and the connection will go to my database server, respective server, because we used server name, protocol, and the port and the server name, and the connection will go to that server, and it will be able to connect to my database. So here on the server side, once they pass all those details, somebody has to receive here, right? Some service should be there here to receive that all the information and validate whether server name is correct or not, whether the DB name or service name correct or not, whether the protocol is correct or not, whether the port is correct or not. For that, we have something called some service called here listener on the server side. We have something called listener, and we put something called listener.vara. Listener.vara file, and that listener.vara file again has the same thing, whatever you have it here. Let's go back here. Whatever we have here, DB name, service name, or your host name and the protocol and the port, everything we can keep it on the service name, right? I will put it on the listener.vara file, and the service will be running over here. And the moment this client will give the connection, and your listener will take all those information, and then whether all the informations are correct and matching, and then your listener further allow them to connect to your database. That's a simple understanding. We need a client side TNS names, and on the server side, we need a listener file, and your listener service will be running over here, and the client give all those details. Listener will take the details and allow them to connect to my database. Right. Let's quickly check on the demo, how that gonna works. On the server side here on the server, I'm on the server side. Okay, let me clear this. Clear. Okay, let's go back here now. Now, if I go on the server side, so right now I am at server side, let's exit. If I do ps-ef grep listner, listener, sorry, typo, grep. So you have a listener is up and running. As I said, on the server side, that's the service will be up and running. So ls-nr-ctl status listener. So your listener is up and running. Again, if you see, your listener has protocol and the host name and the port and your database services, your service db2 xdb and service db2. Your listener has all those details now: protocol, host name, and the port and the service name. That's your db name. So everything will be like your listener will be up and running here. This service is up and running. It means whatever the application user trying to connect, I am ready to receive that connections. Right now, let's go back here. So your listener is up and running here. So for that, this is a file, listener.wara file. If I do cat of that listener.wara file here, so it's the same thing. Your protocol, your host name where your database is running, and your port. So your listener service is ready, up and running here. It is ready to take that incoming connection. Your application user has to connect now with that username and password, along with those all the details. They can connect with various methods, with the client tool or with the client software or with the application software. There are so many methods like JDBC, ODBC, TNS connections. So for simple example, I'm taking this SQL developer. SQL developer is again Oracle tool, the client tool. You can connect. So application user is using this client tool and they're trying to connect. How? New connections. Let's click on this new
Arjun sir,
connection.
I have one question. Uh,
Yeah, please.
Before you say we have to have a manual entry and TNS file in a client side.
Right.
So, but you did not show us how
This is
do
the
you use.
client TNS entry here. This is the application. As I said, client can connect to my database with a various method. He can use a SQL developer, he can use a Toad, and he can use anything. So what I said, client can use a TNS file, or they can give all the entries while connection. I'm going to show you that in a minute. So two method he can use it. He can either use this TNS name here. Let's go here. This is a TNS file, client side, network admin. If I open the TNS file, he can put all those details, DB2, protocol, host name, port, and the service name. He can put in the TNS file one thing, or if you don't want to put in the TNS file, while connection time itself, you can give all these details. How I'm going to show you in a minute. Right. Client is trying to connect to my database, and name, it's a apps connection. Whatever name you can give, you can give. It's a connection name, apps user connection. So it's going to connect to my database. Here, what is the username? Apps is the username for my database. And what's the password for that? Apps is the password. And while connection, I'm not going to use the TNS. I'm happy to give all those details. Okay, give all those details. What are those details? Same thing. Your host name or the IP address. Give that one here, like host name. And the port, which port it is running? 1521 port. That's fine. And service name. What's your service name? DevDB. So manually you can give all the details here and test for the connection. The moment you test for the connection, the result will be successful. Test it. And you can see failed connection refused TNS does not know the services. Okay. Why it does not know services? Service name I gave it wrong here. It clearly says failed to connect. Vara 1251 TNS. Your listener don't know the service name. Your service name is wrong. Right? That's a common mistake. Everyone will do that. So now make it as a DB2. DB2 is your service name, or the DB2 is your database name. Now do one more time test and check your status here. Right, it's successful. This is one, like these all are called TNS entries. It is all left to client whether they can give manually all the details if they remember all the things. If they have 100 servers, 100 servers they have to remember manually, right? So manually they have to give it. So that's a TDS. For that, what client will do, they will install this client software. and this is my client software, and they'll create this TNS file. And in this TNS files, they're going to put all those TNS entries. Let's see here. So I put all the DB2 and protocol, host name, port, and the service name. I put all the TNS details in the client. If the client has 100 servers, 100 databases, they can put all them here. And now simply what they'll do, instead of giving all the details manually, the connection type here, there's so many things. I'll just simply go to TNS. Go to TNS. And the moment you go to TNS, you can see alias name here. Just drop down, you'll immediately get the DB2. So just select that one and then test the connection. Right, able to connect. And now you can connect. Right, so now you are able to connect with the apps user. Your application user can directly connect to your database. They no need to have a OS level login. OS level login, only DBAs will be having it. Right, so that is one way. Your application user, I can directly create a user, and for the application users, I can create their username and password inside my database. I can give the TNS details. They can use any client tool, any client software, and they put all the TNS details into that client TNS name.ora file, or they can manually give all the details while connection time. And then they can able to connect to my database, and they can able to operate it. I can go back here. Let's remove this. Right, now the apps user is connected here. Select, I can say show user or whatever it is. Like now apps user is connected, and apps user can do any operations, whatever the developer wanted to do, like, create table, views, name index, or whatever you want to do, all the activities he can do it over here. Right, so that's about the connections. Any questions so far on the connections method, how connections works for the DBAs and for your application users? For the DBAs, it's a very simple. We log into server. Once we log in, right, let's see here, exit. Right, once I log into my John user, I'll simply do ps-ef grep s1, who is my database owner. This is my database instance ID and installed by Oracle user. Okay, I already have that Oracle user password. But I already have that Oracle user name and password because this is a common user. All the DBAs will be having the sudo access or the password of that Oracle user. I can simply switch to Oracle user. Once I log into Oracle user on that server, what is that meaning? I am the Oracle user now, logged into that server where database is installed by me. Oracle is a user. I am the owner of this particular database. This is the database installed by me, Oracle itself, and I am already on that server. I no need any access. I no need to worry about. I can directly connect to my database without any username and password. SQL plus /s sysdba. I can directly connect. Okay, I need to set the environment. DB2. I can directly connect to my database. I no need to have any username and password inside my database because this is a database created by this Oracle user. I logged into that server as a Oracle user now. I'm the owner of the database. I don't need any access. I'm the master. I can directly connect. This is called your OS authentication. So using OS authentication, directly connected to database. And as a DBA, I can do whatever operation I want it here. Whereas your application user, in order to connect to my database, they should have a proper username and password inside my database. And once they have that username and password created by DBAs, I'm going to share that username and password to all the application user, developer, testing user, along with that TNS name, your server name, IP address, protocol, host name, and port number. They can able to connect using whatever the tool they have it. Either it may be SQL developer, Toad, or any application or any client software. Right. So any questions so far, guys, on the connectivity part? Great.
Malak sir, let me ask you one silly question. Do we have a Oracle installation in this course? And
That's what we explained, right? That's our first 3 topics here. Started with Linux installation, networking understanding, and first 3 chapter here are installation. We
Okay.
already covered in the beginning of
And which OS we should have?
19.
No, regarding OS.
OS is RHEL Linux. That is your OEL,
Okay.
Oracle Enterprise Linux.
Okay, we have to
that
install it. We download it till the time.
Right, everything will be available in our Google Drive. All the software and Ready Labs, Ready VMs, everything will be available.
Oh, that's good. That's good. One thing else, I have requested for to access the Google Drive, but nobody has permitted me yet.
You can ping me again. We'll take it offline. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Right. That is about the connectivity part, how DBA connect and how application users are connecting, right? Let's continue with one or two more topics and then we'll close it for today. Right. Let's go here now. That is connectivity part, what we connected so far. The username, host name, service name, protocol, all those are needed for your end users and they will connect and they'll put it everything in the TNS file and they will connect. Again, there are so many other things we'll discuss in detail, but it's a simple understanding how the connection works. And now like quickly go with the one installation part and then in a short words, I'm going to talk about this is our installation types. We're going to discuss about this particular part here, this particular portion. We're going to cover it as part of this particular course. As I told here, types of databases, we have Oracle standalone, Oracle restart with ASM and without ASM. So this is part of this database course. And we have this rack and rack one node. This is a part of rack course. So those two things will not be covered and these will be covered here. That's what comes here, the installation part. So this is your totally rack one, 2 node rack, 3 node rack, 4 node rack. So this is for your rack course. So will not be covered here and we'll be covering this installation part here. So installation types, so standalone or the single instance or Oracle restart. So that's with ASM and without ASM. So your underlying OS, maybe your OS file system, NFS, SAN, NAS, OCFS or raw disk or your ASM disk. So we're going to install ASM and we're going to create databases. That's one approach we're going to do it. And the second approach, we're going to use the OS file system and we're going to go with OEI method, install Oracle and databases or install Oracle home and database separately. So we're going to do this one installation path and we're going to do the second installation part as part of this course. And again, this is the same process, NFS. If you have NFS mount points, you're going to use NFS mount points. So all are same process installation part when it comes to. So this is total installation part, what we are going to cover it in this particular course. Right. That's a installation and a quick difference between your standalone and rack. So let's go here. This is your standalone and rack. So we already understood about how application users or the end users are going to connect. They can connect using the application or the client or the software or the tool, whatever it is. We can call it as a front end, middleware, web layer or presentation layer or whatever it is. So they can connect using a web URL or mobile device or the client or the desktop. Any mode they're going to connect. When they try to connect, the connection next will go to application. From the application server, we can call it as a middle tier, middleware, Apache, web server, anything. From there, it's going to go to at the backend. Backend is your database tier or the databases. So here we have a standalone. Standalone means only one, that is your host. Host, that is your Oracle lab, whatever you're seeing here. This Oracle lab here, that's a standalone single instance. Right. So let's go here. Where is that? Right. So in standalone, there's only one instance running under one server. All the users are going to connect to the single instance here. That's the meaning of standalone, single instance. And that will be accessing my database. So if this host goes down, if this instance goes down, your database will be down. Nobody can able to access the database. What that mean? If I go here, if this particular Oracle Lab 1 server goes down, if this particular DB2 instance, this instance goes down, crash happens due to network or OS issue, underlying database is gone, nobody can able to access it. So that's your standalone limitation, right? So that's your standalone. But whereas when it comes to rack, like an end user can connect from various devices and it'll go to application server. From the application server, we have host 1, Linux server 1, Linux server 2, Linux server 3. there you are running instance 1, instance 2, instance 3, multiple instances. This end user connected to instance 1, this end user connected to instance 2, this end user connected to instance 3. If this host goes down, or if this instance goes down, this connected user automatically fail over or the switch over to any of the existing nodes here. That is your rack feature, rack, real application cluster. So high availability or the transparent application failure. If this instance goes down, end user, I connected to this instance. If this instance or server or host goes down, my connection automatically goes over to any of the other instances. That is called TFA, transparent application failure. That is available in rack. That's the use case of your rack. Why rack is mostly used in enterprise business because of this high availability and the transparent application failure. That's the difference between standalone versus rack. So in this particular course, we're going to deal with the standalone, not the rack. Rack is a separate course. Right. So that's about your understanding of different types of database. Again, we'll go in details about why we call it as a Oracle restart. Even though it is a single server, even though it is also a single server, we call it as a restart here because of ASM, and we call it as a standalone because we don't have ASM. We'll understand more details in our regular classes. And rack will not be covered. These are the 4 types of databases, and rack is advantages is high availability and the failover, transparent application failover. Right. Next, coming to your, yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah. So sorry, the other time you mentioned TNS.aura file. How will the application users have access to this TNS file?
They have to install, like for example, in the application side, they want to use SQL developer, they have to install that TNS file in that application. If they're connecting using a ODBC, JDBC, or any application they're configuring, they are going to use the TNS file. That is application side. We are going to work with the application users. Any application software, they're going to install it. Along with the software, we're going to install the Oracle client. So that is again, we'll work with application team to install that client. The moment you install, they're going to get the TNS file. So this is application now. This is the SQL developer is application. When I'm installing this SQL developer application, it is asking me to provide me this client location. This client location. This is a software you need to download it from Oracle and you need to give it to your client, or you need to install that and give that path to your client. And they're going to give that path in the application installation. While installing application, they're going to give that path so that they can get the TNS name file over there. Or simply they can create a file with the manual VI and the file name. Right. So that is about your what is the difference between a standalone and rack, and what are the different types of databases and how the database connectivity works. And we're gonna cover one more topic that is pure, simple, basic. What is my database? What is my database server? So database server, what is Oracle database server? Oracle database server is nothing but is your Linux server. Whatever this Oracle Lab 1, whatever this Oracle Lab 1 is your Oracle database server. Let's put them here. Whatever this Oracle Lab 1 and whatever the IP address is here, whatever the IP address, whatever this IP address, whatever this Oracle Lab, this is OEL, Oracle Enterprise Linux 7.9. Sorry, this is the Oracle Lab server or the host or the physical server or the virtual server. This is nothing but on top of this one, we installed my DB. We installed my DB. So the DB name we can define it. While installation you can provide DB2 or DevDB or ProdDB or TestDB or UATDB. Name you can define it while installation. So the moment you install database on the Linux server, that's become your Oracle database server. Oracle database server. Oracle database server is equal to your Linux plus DB. Whatever the Linux server, you install your database or create your database, that become your Oracle database server. Right? That's a simple understanding. Oracle Lab 1 is my Oracle database server because I installed my Oracle database over there. So in simple words, if I correlate this Oracle database server with the human life, and let's assume that I am being a human, and one of my friends or my manager or anybody comes and tells me, okay, can you take a note of this particular address? Or my friend comes and tell me, okay, hey bro, like, can you take a note of this address? We're gonna go to this address by next weekend. So I'll remember it the moment he give that address. Maybe, okay, we're going for London next week. So I can remember that London, this is the street and this is the state name. I'll remember that. So after 1 or 2 days, I may eventually forget that one, because whatever I think right now, whatever my friend gave me and told me that, okay, can you remember this address? I remember it for now. Maybe tomorrow I may forget it. So what I'll do now, if I don't want to forget that, whatever I think right now, whatever I remember, I'll start writing into a notebook. Right. And again, further new friends comes or new, whatever, like my colleagues comes and give whatever the information, I'll be start writing into books. When that book is full, I'll take one more book and then start writing into that many books, because I don't know, I may forget it over the period of time. And after a week or after 3-4 days, the same, if the first friend came and he'll ask, okay, I remember, like, I gave you one address. Do you remember that? So if I still remember that address, I can easily update him back. Okay, this is the address you gave me. Suppose if I don't remember that, I'll directly go back to my book. I'll get that address and later I can give it back to my friend. Right? That's a human, day-to-day activities, how it works. And if I can correlate that same thing with my database server, what happens? I have an instance. Instance is nothing but whatever here seeing ps-ef grep s1 db2 is your instance. Any server, any Oracle lab, or any of your host where you install your database, their instance will be running. So that instance is act as your human. That instance has a memory plus background process. How this human has a brain and hands to write it. So similarly, it has a memory, and memory has so many components like SGA and PGA. Inside SGA, we have a DB buffer cache, log buffer cache, shared pool, large pool, Java pool, so many memory components. But like, just assume that human has a brain, like similarly, this instance has a memory. And that memory has a background process. That instance has a background process. So whatever you're seeing here, like if I do ps-ef grep db2, so db2. So these are the background process here. Whatever you're seeing, smon and your pmon, your db writer, log writer, check pointer, and your pmon, smon, all those are like your background process. Whatever you're seeing a background process, like pair of hands. Similarly, this instance has background processes. So if any user comes and they are going to connect to my instance, how users or friends will come and communicate to me, like any users, like user one, application user one, or developer user one, or testing user comes, they're going to connect to instance. The moment they connect to instance, what they will do, they're going to do insert. The moment they do insert some record, some table record they insert, and they're going to insert, they'll connect to instance. They connect to instance means they're going to connect to memory, and they're going to insert some record, table T1, and he put one record. And then the instance will tell back, okay, your data is saved. And over the period of time, after certain time, using this background process called especially DB DB writer, how the friends comes and tell me the information, I'll keep it in my mind later. So over the period of time, I can write it to notebook using a pair of hands. Like similarly, the users comes and insert some records, some table records. I'll put it in the memory. That's the DB buffer cache. We'll put it in the memory, and later with the help of DB writer, I'm going to take that one and write it to my data files. Like how I'm going to write it in the books, I'm going to write it to my data files. That's your actual books or the data files, right? And now user 2 comes and he going to connect. Can you give me that table 1, record 1? If it is already available in the memory, I can directly give it back. The instance will give it back directly to that user 2 or to the same user. If suppose it is not available in the memory, and again, there's something called server process. there's a table T1 and record 1 is available here, and you're going to fetch that record and then put it back to the memory, and from the memory and then give it back to that user. How this human, if that remember the things, he can give it back to that user whoever asked, and if you don't remember, he will go back to books and check it out and then update them back. Right, same process. My instance is nothing but human who has memory plus background process. Memory plus background process combining together is instance. If somebody asked what is instance, is a memory plus background process. Memory is your SGA and PGA, shared global area or system global area. PGA is your program global area or private global area. And again, inside those SGA and PGA, there are so many memory component. Your shared pool, large pool, Java pool, DB buffer cache, and log buffer cache. So many memory components. And in the background processes, we have mandatory and non-mandatory background processes. Some of the mandatory background processes are your PMON, SMON, DB writer, log writer, checkpointer, so many other things. And how this human will correlate with this writing the books and reading and giving back. Same, this background process will do a read, and server process will, the background process will write it, DB writer and log writer, and the server process will read and give it back to that user. Right, that's a simple understanding how you can correlate your database instance is nothing but a human who has a memory plus background process is called instance, and your database instance plus your database or the data files or the storage files together will form your database server. The database server is nothing but your Linux server where you install your database. Right. Let's go back here on server. These are my parameter here. Like, these are my background processes. This is my DB2 is an instance which is running under this lab1. This instance has a memory and background process. If I do ps-f grep DB2, there's so many background processes. Some are mandatory and some are non-mandatory. So these mandatory background process and non-mandatory background process are the background process here. And the memory structure, if I do SQL plus /sysdba, and if I do shut immediate, and just do startup, the moment I do startup, the memory process or memory will be allocated to that instance. Shut immediate. Okay, probably that's going to take some time. Again, don't worry about this command connections and all. It will be part of our admin courses. We are going to discuss in details what this shutdown immediate command will do, what are the backend changes that are going to happen. All will be discussed. What I wanted to show now, your instance is down. Your instance is down means everything will be down. Your memory is down, your process is down, and that's our work. So instance is down. If I do exit, and if I run the same command here, ps-f grep db2, nothing will be available, right? Nothing will be available. So now I'll connect back. So it says idle instance. Idle instance means your instance is down. If I do startup, the moment I do startup, instance is memory plus background process. First it will allocate the memory, and at the same time your background process will get started for that instance. That you can see memory will be allocated here. Variable size, buffer, redo logs, and database is mounted and database is opened. And if I exit and if I check for this background processes, and there'll be a bunch of background process will get started. In order to run my instance, I need a memory and then the background process will be started. And backend, I have a lot of data files. So I can say connect back, or I can go to CD U01 app, Oracle, or a data DB2 and data file. And these are the data files, whatever you're seeing, the temp, user, undo, sysocs, system, and all those data files are your data files. Actual end user data is going to store here. All right, so that's a simple correlation what I gave you, how the database server works in the day-to-day activities with comparison with the human life. And followed by, we covered about the differences between standalone versus rack. What is the advantage of rack? High availability and the load balancing and the transparent application failover. And we talked about the installation process, like how standalone installation works with the file system or with ASM. And this is a part of our course. We're going to cover here these two types of installation, and this will be your rack, will not be covered here. And we understood about further different types of databases. These are the 4 types of databases, what typically available in industry for many customers. And followed by, we understood about the database connectivity, how database DB is going to connect, how my application or end user or developers are going to connect. And followed by we also covered about the course duration, course timing, course curriculum, and introduction about me. Right, so that's about for the today's planned demo activities. So any questions before we wind up for today, or any questions, concerns, or anything you want to discuss, feel free to unmute and ask or use our chat box here. Right. Yeah, again, it is not easy, like some questions coming here explain about banking and insurance domain. That's not one word or two words. As and when we cover our class starts, we'll talk about how the insurance domain work, how the banking domain work, how the data warehouse domain works, how the OLTP domain works. So there will be like a lot of things we're gonna talk about that. So can you cover SBP creation deployment? So yes, not SBP, we're gonna cover some other tool. We have some automated script, we're gonna use those tools and we'll be covering that. Right. So what else? I'm just checking
Arjun
over.
sir, regarding certifications,
Mhm.
could you give some information? Like
Again,
from which
we are gonna cover at the end of the course, as I already explained, beginning of this demo. At the end of the course, we'll be covering about what all certification you're gonna get it. After this course, you're gonna write 2 exams, admin 1 and admin 2. Again, you have to register with Oracle and you have to pass that exam, and then you'll get admin 1 and admin 2. That typically your OC and OCP certificates. All right. Any questions, guys, before we stop it? Right. One important thing again, we'll continue to cover, like, probably tomorrow we can talk about that. After completion of this course, how many years of experience I can put it, and what are my next career path, and how this is going to be helpful for my new job. Like, typically you can put around 3 to 4 years of experience after completion of this course. And after that, you're going to complete your OC and OCP certificate. That's your admin 1 and admin 2, 19C admin 1, admin 2 certificate. And along with that, yeah, how you're going to crack how you're going to get the job after completion of this course. We're going to talk about in tomorrow's class. All right. OUD, what is that OUD information? I did not understand. There's some question here. Can you provide me OUD information for this course? I did not get OUD. That's Oracle University. I don't know what is the full form of that. All right. So any questions, guys, before we wind up for today? Right. So one last thing before we stop it. For this particular course, the prerequisites is probably I forgot to cover that. So you should have a prerequisites minimum of 8 GB RAM is needed, and you should have a 100 GB SSD hard disk for your laptop in order to set up a lab. If you don't have a 8 GB RAM, then you will not be able to set up a lab. Make sure that you have 8 GB RAM at least. That's a minimum, and minimum 100 GB SSD hard disk, so that you can easily set up a lab. So the lab, we're going to use it Oracle VirtualBox on independent of individual laptop, and we're going to use it for a lab exercise. All right. Bye for now. We'll connect tomorrow with one more demo. Again, we're going to connect a few more exciting topics. So we're going to talk about database architecture, database administration, and the database file system, your P file, SP file, password file, and so many other things. All right, guys, if no questions, take a break. We'll connect tomorrow. Thank you all.
thanks a lot. Thank you, sir.
Thank you all.
Thank
Bye.
you, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah, Malik.